Hey y'all, it's Danielle from Black Business Boom and Black Owned Nashville, and we are live with our expert in all things social media and influencer marketing, which is so important for small business owners. And we have a lot of folks feel like I can't do influencer marketing because I can't afford Kim Kardashian, but there are ways that you can get started with your influencer marketing campaign as a small Black owned business and use that to be able to explode the growth of your business. So Leigh is here to give us some tips and some steps we can take to start making those moves and get prepared to launch our influencer marketing campaigns. Hey Leigh, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. Can't complain at all. Excited about this topic because, again, a lot of business owners I talk to, they think that, I need these big names in order to do influencer marketing for my business. And how do I find the marketing budget to go out and get big names that are celebrities to post about my small business? But a lot of folks don't realize you can get started, with local folks or folks that are micro influencers. So what is the first step folks should take when they're thinking, I would love to see how I can use influencers to get more exposure for my brand?
I would say the first thing that's really important, I really encourage people to make sure all other touch points of your social media and your digital marketing are set up. So if you're going to leverage influencers, make sure that the pages that you are going to have them drive to, whether it be your Instagram or your Facebook, those pages are cleaned up to date, and have products that people can view. Same thing with your website working as well, because influencers are just one part of the cog. They drive to these other channels, and you need to make sure like everything is flowing correctly, up to date. There's product for people to buy online, there's the correct information online. So that actually is the first step right there, and I think a lot of people miss out on that because influencers, once again, are just part of it. They only do so much, and then the rest of your marketing strategy has to do the rest of the lift to make sure the sales are there.
I love it. That's great. Get your presence in order. I love it. I preach it every day.
Yes.
So once folks are like, okay, like I've gotten my pages together, the website is working well, it's converting well, if we can get traffic there, how do you go about identifying the right influencer or even the right type of influencer for your brand?
I always tell people, there's different goals for different campaigns. Some businesses that are just starting out, they really just want awareness. And if that is your goal, you might be able to work with some micro influencers. Now, if you're really trying to drive sales and convert people, you probably want to work with some bigger people, probably over like 25, 50K, which are a little bit more expensive. So understanding the goals of what you want the influencer campaign to do are like very important. But then also matching up people. If you're selling beauty products, you obviously want to work with people that have a very consistent beauty presence on their page. If you're selling clothes, it should be someone who really is fashion forward. That's their number one thing that they do. If you're selling food, it should be someone that is really food oriented as well. I think people, once again, they look and say, I want to work with the biggest person, but that person might not have the content that really aligns with your brand. And so that's where one of the pitfall happens is, you can post to all these people, but if their followers are not used to seeing a certain type of content and products, they might not really resonate with that, and they might not be, wanting to and engage with that. So you want to make sure you find someone that has the right niche, does the right content that really would push your products to the right people that would engage with those types of products.
That is a very, very good point. Now, once you are like, okay, I see a few people who I want to work with, I think that they're a good match. How do you actually approach them? Like, what do you need from a business perspective to even do the outreach? And then, like, are there documents that you need to have prepared? Are there contracts? How does that work?
Yeah, there's a right way, and certainly many, many wrong ways to reach out to influencers and bloggers. Through Blogger Exchange, we do have our BX Brand Partnerships program. So we actually do all the work for people if they want to work with us. And that's easier for brands sometimes because they're just like, I just want to pay someone to do it, execute it correctly. And
And
that's
that's why I'm like, anybody who asks me, I'm like, go ask Leigh because they'll just do it for you instead of you trying to figure all
yes.
this out.
But if you did want to do it yourself, I do always suggest reaching out via email. I think that's the most professional way versus a DM. And really outlining what you are going to either pay them or give them, if it's product based, like exchange of goods, or if it's an actual paid campaign. Really make sure you describe, here's who my brand is, here's what I'm looking for you to do, the timeline I'm looking for you to do it. And then, if they do decide to move forward, I always suggest that people have a contract. It protects the influencer, it protects the brand. So once again, you guys have aligned on the deliverables, the timeline of the deliverables, and then once again, you each know, here's what the brand's going to do, here's what the blogger's going to do, and then there's really no issues that should pop up because you have a signed agreement in place.
Okay. Now, I think a lot of small business owners are like, what do I even pay for this? Like, I don't even know what to offer. I think a lot of folks think, I'll just offer some free products or services and, that is enough. But a lot of folks want to get paid. Like they don't necessarily want your free shirt. They want some money. And as a small business owner, we don't know where to start a lot of times, and that's just across the board when it comes to pricing or negotiations. Many times we don't know where to start with, like, what do I offer? So are there ways to find like what the industry going rates are, or do we just like pitch and hope that they take what we offer? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So first, I always tell people you get what you pay for. And if you are going to pay with a t-shirt, don't expect the world back from the influencer. I think people have to remember there are influencers and bloggers, even if they have 5,000, sometimes that's their full-time job. So their expectation is pay for the work that they do, because once again, they're brainstorming the content they're going to create. They're actually then filming the content, and then they're posting the content as well. So it's a whole process and business from them as well. And so once again, they expect to be compensated in a fair manner for the work that they're doing. And with that being said, because each of them are essentially independent contractors, most bloggers set their own rates. But I will say that there are ranges that people can work within. I will say anyone under 5,000, potentially there may be some people in there that would accept, $50 to, $350 for a post or a couple of posts. I think once you get over 10K, that's when we get into a little bit of higher ranges where those people are expecting, 250 to potentially 750 for a single post or multiple posts. And then once we get over 25K, we're talking different numbers at that point in time. So once again, it's like, you really got to start with the goals of, if you're trying to move product, you probably need to have a decent sized budget to reach those higher tier influencers. But if you really are just looking for, hey, I just want some dope content with real people to leverage on my social pages, I just want to get some awareness for my business out there, you probably can get away with a lower budget and working with some more micro influencers too. But it really just goes back to the goals and what you're trying to achieve with the program.
I love it. I got one more question, then I'm going to ask, kind of shift gears a little bit. But so, as a small business owner, many times we can do things to get user generated content as well that's not necessarily like paid influencers or like, here's my t-shirt, can you post it? But actually having a strategy around how do we really get our customers or clients to create content that we can share and post to our pages as well. Can you give us some tips on like implementing a strategy around doing that versus doing an actual influencer marketing campaign?
Something I've seen work really well, and I encourage everyone to do. If you are a business, and I feel like most small businesses you work with are probably like this, you don't have a storefront, which means you're probably actually shipping the product to the customers. So let's say you ship some product to me. When I get that in the mail, the wrapping, a note with inside of it should say, if you love your purchase, here's our handles. Please share because we'd love to repost you. That should be in every package, whether it's a note card or it's actually on the wrapper. I've literally received clothes and the outside has the Instagram handle, the Facebook handle, all that, and shares and says, please share to be featured. I think that's a great, easy thing that's just always there. Another great option too would be like weekly features. Just say we would love to have a customer of the week. So tag us in your story, tag us in a post. And that's an option too to get some user generated content too. People love to feel like they're part of a brand, and they love to feel like they're part of a community. And so just seeing their face or people that they look like or know in their community, that keeps them engaged and makes them want to post more and buy more as well.
I love it. So true. I love it. It's such a great way and an easy way to turn your customers into advocates
Yeah.
for your brand and like champions and getting it out to their audience. And then they're excited because they're sharing on your page. That's one thing that I tell people all the time that Peloton does a really great job at really creating community, but then they will go and they will find people wearing their Peloton gear or riding their bike or whatever that just posted about it. Peloton didn't necessarily ask, but then they share it, and it encourages other people to be like, I should post too because they might share mine as well. So
Exactly.
without them even asking, it becomes a thing. And
Yeah.
so I love that idea of the weekly highlights.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Now, I want to switch gears real quick and just talk about from the perspective of those that are like, I want to be an influencer or a blogger, or I have a following that I need to monetize, and I would love to help some small businesses grow using my following. How does someone get started with doing that?
Yeah, I always tell people, even when blogging and influencing is not your full time job, it's a full time job to do it correctly. It does take a content strategy, a content schedule, to make sure you're putting out the right quality content that will attract brands to even want to work with you. But also, if you really are just getting started, I would definitely spend some time on what you want your niche to be, what you want your content pillars to be as well. And then I always encourage people to have a media kit, which I essentially tell people is their blogger resume. It says how many social followers you have across different channels, who you are as a blogger, what your pages are about, and then it shows the different ways in which you could work with a brand. Like essentially your menu of offerings if a brand wanted to work with you, and what that could possibly look like visually through pictures as well. So that's always a great way to get started. And, like I said, we do one-on-one consulting, because the strategy for each person does differ. Someone getting started in fashion looks very different than someone getting started as a food blogger or a beauty blogger.
Yeah, and I tell you, I sat down with Leigh, I guess that was about a year and a half ago now, and was like, okay, I'm gonna really take this influencer thing serious, and like, what are all the things I gotta do? And she got me going with my media kit and all that. And I was like, oh, this is a real deal time. Like, you gotta really have some
Yeah.
time to put into this. It's
Yeah.
not just like something you can kind of do in passing. If you really want to be serious about it and really make some money from it, it takes a lot, like a whole lot. And I want even the small business owners to really understand that, because like you said, sometimes these are what people are doing for their full-time job. But even if they are not, the time it takes to create this content is substantial. And many times business owners are not really understanding that piece, which is where there sometimes is a disconnect when it comes to pricing this type of thing, especially for small businesses that don't really have a marketing budget, but know that they want to, use influencers in their marketing strategy. And I'm like, you really have to try to find a way to pay these people. Like
Yes. I
it
mean,
takes
you
a lot
you
of time.
really on both sides, you really do get out of it what you put into it. And I will just say for small businesses, it's an investment. You're investing in someone's time, their creativity, and then you get the content out of it. So you not only get the reach from their social channels, but you also are getting content that should be high quality that you can then leverage on your social channels too. And oftentimes, for some small businesses, they're not able to create high res videos and photos, that are well edited and, really bright and all those different things. And so that's why you just lean into I would think of it as a contractor once again that you're kind of outsourcing to get video and photo content. That's how people should basically think about bloggers and influencers.
Yeah, and I think really thinking about like you can maximize your ROI by actually being involved in the process as well, like not just like depending on them to share it on their pages and hope that it just skyrockets your business, but also using it as an opportunity to share that content to your page as well, which helps to maximize this opportunity. So there's work that has to be done on both sides, and again, there needs to be a budget somehow
Yeah.
if you really want the maximum impact from
Yeah,
working.
I will say though, product-based campaigns can still work, but I
Mm-hmm.
think the product has to be a high quantity, high value. So I'm just making this up. If you do like candles and like bath bombs, that's your business. Probably sending one candle isn't going to really make an influencer want to post. So maybe you just work with a smaller amount. You send them the full candle collection, you send them multiple bath bombs, throw in like some loofahs and some other things to really jazz up what you're sending them. And then that's a little bit more compelling because they see that you put time into the package that they received. They also get to explore the different scents and choose which ones they want to share with their followers. So things like that work too, of like maybe you don't send it to 50 people, maybe you choose like 15 really great ones you want to work with and just make sure what you send them is really high quality, worth their time. So when they open it up, they're like, wow, this is a great package. And I do want to share this with my followers.
Now, last question. Should you have that agreement in place, like when you send the package? Should you already have had them say, I'm agreeing to post this, or are you just sending it out there hoping that they will? Because I've
Frozen.
gotten things in the mail that I'm like, I guess they want me to post this. I don't know. And then there are other folks that I'm like, send it and I will, post it for you. So do you need to have that buy-in before you actually send the product?
So I will say most influencers and bloggers are not going to sign a contract for free product. So usually if you send it to them, it is with the hope that they will post and know that everyone's not going to post. What I would suggest on that, once again, is reach out to someone and say, hey, I would love to send you this package. It's going to include all these things. Would you be willing at minimum to do a story? And if you love the product, a story for free product. Once again, the agreement will probably be via email rather than like a signed
Yeah,
document because
just
once again, they're not getting paid.
right.
Um,
This is like a verbal agreement. Like
exactly. But
I'll do it. Send
I think
it.
for most people that will work, and most people will do what they call unboxing stories. But once again, if you are sending, a $50 value product, which I do understand is a lot for a small business, you just have to know that they're probably not going to do a full post for that because once again, they're probably charging more than $50 for the post and it takes a lot of time to create their content. So once again, think about the both sides of yes, you're sending something that's $50 for you, but also the influencer might normally charge $500 for a post. So maybe a story is really great because they get really great reach on their stories and it's better than what you had before.
I love it. This was fantastic. A lot of really, really great information for both the small business owners and those that want to get started. Now, I love that the Blogger Exchange helps bring these two sides together. And so, how can folks reach out to you if they are interested as a small business owner and getting started with finding influencers to help promote their brand? Or if they are an aspiring or a current content creator or blogger and they want to really start to monetize their following, how can they reach out to you to find out how they do those things?
Yep. If you guys go to bloggerexchange.com, we do have a BX brand partnerships page, which basically outlines if you want to apply to be one of the brands that we work with. We do national programs. We also do programs specific to Nashville. We have a database of over 1,500 bloggers that we work with. So we have a great list of very small people, diverse set, large people that we work with across all different niches as well. And then we do have some upcoming workshops in July if you are interested in starting your blog or starting your influencer journey as well. And then we always do one-on-one consulting. Sometimes group workshops don't work for everyone and they just need some one-on-one help. So we do offer one-on-one consulting, and we're always happy to do that because I just love hearing about people's passions of what they want to share with the world. We'll create a strategy, and then you can go start doing that and start blogging.
I love it. This was very, very helpful. Thank you so much, Leigh. I greatly appreciate you and the work that you're doing to help the small businesses here in Nashville and beyond. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Yeah,
Or
bye
today.
all.
Bye. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in.